Good evening, everyone. May I please have a roll call vote?
Alexa Clark is absent, Tracy Katz-Levine here, Tim Hoffman.
Here.
Jackie Benjamin Lieberberg,
Here.
Ben Stoller,
Present.
Ashley Schultz
Here.
on Zoom. Hi, Ashley.
We just asked him to say it again. It's a little low.
Okay, Ashley Schultz, could you just say a little louder that you're here?
Here.
Okay. Richard Wasserman is absent and Stephen Weiner.
Here. Notice of the time, oh, sorry, that's you, Tracy. Forgive me.
Notice of the time, date, location, and agenda of this meeting, to the extent known, was provided at least 48 hours prior to the commencement of this meeting in the following manner pursuant to the provisions of NJSA 10-4-6. Of the Open Public Meetings Act. Notice of this meeting and all meetings in 2024 was provided to the township clerk, posted in town hall and the township's website, and provided to newspapers on December 19th, 2023.
May we please salute the flag?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The SID mission statement. The purpose of the Special Improvement District is to promote, grow, and support local businesses, property owners, residents, and visitors. The mission of Millburn Township SID is to encourage the economic, cultural, and social vitality of the township through increased marketing and visibility, improved and renewed infrastructure, and local business development and engagement. Now we will proceed with the approval of the minutes.
So we,
One by
one. Okay. All right, we distributed the executive session minutes from May 16th, 2024. Did anybody have any questions on that? Okay, so roll call vote. Tracy Katz-Levine. Yes.
We need a motion.
No, we need,
Oh,
yeah.
motion, sorry.
I make a motion to approve the minutes of the executive session from May 16th, 2024.
Second.
Now you roll call.
Okay, roll call. Alexa Clark is not here. Actually, I think, Steve, was at the meeting? I wasn't at.
Yes, but if you've read them and you feel
I read-
comfortable,
Okay, I
you can vote,
Okay,
as can Ashley.
okay. So yes, for me, Jackie Benjamin Lieberberg,
Yes.
Ben Stoller, Ashley Schultz,
Yes.
Stephen Weiner.
Affirmative.
Next, we have public session minutes from June 20th, 2024. Did anybody have any questions on those?
I move that we approve the public session minutes from 2024, June 20th, 2024.
A second?
Second.
Alexa Clark is not here. Tracy Katz-Levine, yes. Jackie Benjamin Lieberberg.
Yes.
Ben Stoller.
Affirmative.
Ashley Schultz.
Yes.
Stephen Weiner.
Yes.
And then lastly, we have the executive session minutes from June 20th, 2024. Any questions on those? Okay, a motion.
I motion that we approve the executive session minutes from June 20th, 24, attachment 3. Second.
Okay. Alexa's not here. Tracy Katz-Levine, yes. Jackie Benjamin Lieberberg.
Yes.
Ben Stoller.
Affirmative.
Ashley Schultz.
Yes.
Stephen Weiner.
Yes.
Thank you.
Treasurer's report.
Yes, thank you. Attachment number 4 in your packet is our regular report. I'll just call out a few highlights. On August 31, 2024, our balance in the bank account was $86,921. As an update, as of September 9th, the balance was $78,421. And just as a reminder, our total spendable budget for the year is $289,663. And our spend year to date is $224,815.33. If you do some math, you will, before we get to the very bottom, you'll notice a line, the accountant and auditor line. There's actually a $500 extra expense. We had budgeted $6,000. Our spend was $6,500. And the reason was our IRS determination letter to confirm that we are in fact a nonprofit. That cost us $500. So we did get that letter. It's been submitted, I think, Steve, to the state. Is that where, or?
Yes, to Main Street, New Jersey.
Oh, to Main Street, yep. And so that's what that expense was. I guess that's it. Highlighting the, and we're gonna talk about it later, the Town Hall Plaza expenses, which were not budgeted for. If you do the math, it looks like we're about $4,000 over if you take the remaining obligations into account with respect to what our spendable budget was. So that will cause a dip into our contingency fund, which is fine, but we're gonna talk about that from a budget perspective for next year.
Thank you. Grant report.
Yes, thank you, Chair. So as you see from attachment 5 in your packets, we have 2 grant applications currently under review in addition to the Main Street application. The first is, as you'll see in our budget presentation later, our usual annual application to Essex County for public art. We applied for $10,000. We've gotten about $7,000 and about $6,400 the last 2 years. We'll use this funding to support the maintenance of any existing public art pieces that we have, as well as develop a new piece or pieces. And right now, we're hoping to work with both the Chinese and Indian communities on creating public art related to those cultures. We're also awaiting a decision on a request from the New Jersey Department of Tourism, their cooperative marketing grant for a project called Small Town Big Events 2026 in Millburn-Short Hills. That would be a $25,000 grant for staffing and marketing to prepare for the 250th anniversary of the American Revolution and the World Cup in 2026. I spoke in detail about that at our last meeting, so I won't revisit that. But one discussion that we did have in our governance meeting was that, as you see from the rejected list, we have not had any success really for the duration of this organization with private foundations or bank foundations. Primarily, giving has changed significantly since COVID. Economic development has become less of a priority versus public health and other diversity opportunities and trainings. And so there's just less money for economic development. And also our zip code doesn't help us, especially compared to other zip codes in the county. And so what we've decided in our governance meeting is that unless we have a specific connection or a specific invitation, we're gonna no longer pursue these private and bank foundation grants since we have not had success with them, and instead focus our time and energy on state and county grants where we've had more progress, shall we say. And that's my report, and Amanda will report on sponsorship.
Yeah, so printed these so it's easier to read this a lot.
Big paper.
Yeah.
Thank you, Amanda.
So. So this. Okay, so this is just to briefly review sponsorship. Starting with Girls Night Out, we didn't have any sponsorship for Restaurant Week, so that's not listed here. And it shows the sponsorship amounts, what's received, and the available sponsorships. One thing I'll note is the Upper Millburn Ave Block Party has been moved to 2025. We received it and Garden Communities said that we can hold on to it. And then I think you all know Garden State Dental Design. They're our super sponsor for every significant event moving forward. So they were the top sponsor for Town Plaza, top sponsor for Halloween, for the holiday kickoff, and for the Winter Villages. So you'll see them there several times. And I think that's it. So the open sponsorships are in blue. Right now, total committed is $42,480. Total available opportunities are 9,750. I'm confident we're gonna fill most of those. So our potential is to bring in a little over 52,000. And something I have to work on next week is getting out invoices, so we have all this money come in versus it being promised. Anybody have any questions?
I just have one.
Yeah.
The Girls' Night Out sponsors, that's a while back. Are you concerned about
No,
elections?
they're
No?
all repeat sponsors, so
Okay.
I'm not concerned. Any other questions?
I guess just along those lines, do we have a target date of getting in the payments? Or
Yeah,
are we
so,
putting down deadlines so that we,
By the end of October,
okay,
I'm gonna be sending out invoices next week.
okay,
It was just a time situation for me.
yeah.
The one thing I will say that this has been really nice is a lot of new businesses have been using this as an opportunity to get themselves out there even more. So if you notice, there's the Art of Problem Solving that just opened, First Choice Prep. And then you have places that have been in existence but wanna get out there like Home Instead. So I will send you an update after we get through Halloween, but we're looking good.
Congrats on securing all these sponsors, and it's been really nice to meet a lot of these businesses, like over the last few months. They are really enthusiastic
Yeah.
and it really does seem like there's people engaging with them, like just
Right, well, they-
observing it.
And they do a great job at the township plaza as well, at some of the major headline sponsors did fantastic, but the township committee, all the members, Jackie talked them all up. So it's good to return the favor, right? So.
Yeah. No, and I'm very, it's very important to me about making sure people get their sponsorship benefits, so I'm always checking in with them and letting them know what is available to them, so I think they have been taking advantage as much as they can.
And also the fact that they're also always acknowledged in the email blast, our signature sponsor is,
Yeah,
so.
Facebook, Instagram, they're always tagged.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's it for sponsorship at this time.
Thank you, Amanda.
Yep.
Mr. Stoller, Township Committee reports, please.
Just a couple, the township 250th US anniversary celebration committee participation. So that's open for discussion as we speak. I think everyone should be involved from the township committee as well as other departments and such. Any questions on that?
Do we have a date? Is it July 4th that we're gonna be celebrating that, or is it some other date?
They have a couple for them, 2 or 3. They picked the exact one.
But is it around? I'm assuming it's
Yeah,
around,
it's
yeah.
around 250th.
And I think you passed it via resolution, so if I misspeak, forgive me, but there's a bunch of organizations that have a seat reserved. Explore is one of them.
Okay.
So it's to be determined whether it's gonna be me, Amanda, potentially a board member volunteer, but we are committed to serving on this committee as well.
Great.
Then Town Hall Plaza, the extension through November 4th, as we've all discussed. I keep saying November 3rd. Is it 4th or 3rd?
The second is the last night of entertainment, and then we have time to break it down.
Got it, okay. And then we got a ton of positive feedback. We also extended it formally, and just a lot of positive feedback on the Township Plaza. Everybody was ecstatic about it so far. So that's it.
Great. Okay, Mr. Hoffman, lot 14, construction project status.
Okay, good evening, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you. So with the Lot 14 construction project, unfortunately, we had to reject the bids that came in for that. So we're gonna have to change from our original plan at the moment. The bids that came in were far exceeding the engineer's estimate. So instead, we're taking care of some immediate concerns regarding the outfall head wall in Lot 14 and also drainage under the lot. So we had some immediate concerns that we could address in the meantime, and so that's what we're going to focus on. And then we'll revisit where things can go from there.
Mr. Hoffman, would you just explain to the public where lot 14 is, just in case?
I was just gonna ask.
It is. Yeah, it's Upper Millburn Avenue behind, like behind Old Short Hills. Am I getting this right? It's Old Short Hills, Millburn Avenue, that kind of corner over there.
behind Jack's.
If you are driving towards Morristown, it is on the left side of the road.
Behind Enzo's.
So so upgrades will be taking place there to address the immediate concerns in that location. The other item I have to update everybody on is just the business insurance registration portal. This is something that under state law, we're required to receive business insurance certificates from businesses. So what we're hoping to do is streamline this process and also make it easier for everybody to know from the business perspective that they've actually submitted these certificates by creating a portal in the SDL online portal. It's a form that businesses will be able to enter their information and actually submit the certificate online. Some other communities across the state have implemented this, and this is going to be a great way to streamline that process. Additionally, I want to also just call attention to on Tuesday between the hours of 1 to 4 p.m. On Town Hall Plaza, we're going to have the officers from our community policing unit be there to just meet and greet. So it's a great opportunity for business owners to be able to meet the officers that are part of that unit. There's going to be information coming out about that either tomorrow or on Monday to really push that information out, because Monday is the first day of the community policing unit.
Okay, and so that is, want to just repeat the date?
Yep, it's Tuesday, the 24th from 1 to 4 p.m. on Town Hall Plaza.
The business insurance registration, do you know when that's due or when the portal will, is it up now?
No, we're still working out some of the final details there to get it launched. But we're going to be working on that. Hopefully within the next couple of weeks, it'll be up and ready to go. And this is an annual process that businesses have to submit.
And is there a deadline once this is up and running on the portal? Is it, do they have 30 days, 60 days, 90 days?
So businesses get to submit it annually. So it's from whenever their certificate is in effect for. So it's a kind of a staggered process as far as when those come in. So if we already have it on file for this year, they'll be good. And this is just going forward.
Great. Terrific. Anybody from the board have any questions about that? Okay. Mr. Slattery, you continue with the attorney's report, please.
Sure. Good evening, everybody. I've got two items on the agenda for you from legal. The first is an update on the Bear Properties versus Millburn Township case. The plaintiffs this week filed their trial brief and all of the exhibits there too. The defendants, meaning the township, have an October 21st deadline for their opposition. There's an opportunity for a reply by the plaintiff currently due November 4th. And then there is a trial date in the case, which is November 12th, 2024. Also on your agenda is a bylaws amendment for compliance with New Jersey ST5 exempt organization certificate requirements. And so you likely, I know you received an email from me a few weeks back about that. It's a proposed amendment to the EMSH bylaws. The changes that's proposed is very small, and it, if approved and adopted by the Township Committee, it will be added to section 8.01. The amendment would say, no part of net earnings of the organization shall inure to the benefit of any private shareholder or individual. And there'll be an opportunity to discuss this, but the primary reason for the change, really the only reason for the change, is that it's required to obtain the certificate from the Department of the Treasury. There aren't any other changes currently proposed. So as you know from the email I sent around, by providing an email with read receipts at least 10 days prior to the meeting, we can introduce and adopt this if the board so desires at this meeting, rather than introducing and waiting till the next meeting to do so. And that will allow Mr. Grillo to get the certificate a little faster. Provided the motion is introduced, duly seconded and passed, my office can forward it to the Township Committee for consideration. The Township Committee, under the bylaws, has the final say on amendments to the bylaws. So if you want to have a discussion amongst each other, and if you have any questions for me, I'm happy to take them, but I would recommend that the chair open that discussion so we can do so.
Yes, I would like to move to open the discussion with respect to this proposed amendment of the bylaws changes. I just want to mention that this is something that all organizations are participating in. It's not, in this case, Explore Millburn-Short Hills is not special. This is a statewide change for all SIDS. So I just wanted to bring that to the attention of the board. Does anybody have any questions for Mr. Slattery with respect to the changes, or Mr. Grillo?
Yeah, I just want to add a point for context. So this is just about being able to reclaim or to not be charged sales tax. Typically, we would just submit our 501c3 determination letter. That's more with smaller vendors, you know, your landscapers and things like that. Major corporations now, Amazon, Walmart, Lowe's, they're requiring this form from the state. And so our bylaws have 2 of the 3 requirements of the language that this form requires. So I submitted the application over the summer. They sent it back saying, add this 1 line, and then you'll be able to get the certificate. So this is to actually just save quite a bit of money because we won't be paying sales tax on anything that we buy online, et cetera. So this is a very minor administrative change, but I strongly suggest that you approve it.
Thank you. Does any other board member have any questions with respect to this proposed amendment? Okay, so I would like to move that we approve the bylaws. I would like to make a motion to approve this amendment and advance to the Township Committee for final approval. So I'm putting the motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Weiner, Mr. Stoller. May we have a roll call vote, please?
Alexa Clark is absent, Tracy Katz Levine, yes, Jackie Benjamin Lieberberg.
Yes.
Ben Stoller,
Affirmative.
Ashley Schultz,
Yes.
Stephen Weiner.
Yes.
Thank you. So, Mr. Grillo will Mr. Slattery will instruct you to proceed and bring this to the Township Committee for final approval.
Will do, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Could you put the Town Hall Plaza presentation, please?
Town Hall Plaza report.
Yes, and actually, could you open that JPEG as well? So I'll just start with, this is our word cloud from our surveys. So I'm going to present on the summer survey results from Town Hall Plaza. And so as you can see, community was the #1 response when we asked people what word comes to mind at Town Hall Plaza. Family, music, relaxing, friends, fun, food. So really just terrifically positive feedback from folks. And now we'll go to the data. So as you know, this was the first year that we did Town Hall Plaza. And so I think as Committeeman Stoller said, I think it exceeded expectations quite considerably. The feedback's been really positive, and we've continued now, been authorized by the town to proceed through November 2nd. But we want to get some baseline figures as we've done in the past with Main Street. And so we conducted a survey between August 10th and August 24th and collected 100 surveys from random users. You go to the next slide, please. We had 18 scheduled musical performances, 6 business-sponsored community events, including events by Tonino Cigars, First Choice Prep, Rumble Boxing, Home Instead, and Green Door Studio, which represents participation from businesses in 4 of the 5 districts. We also worked with local nonprofit partners on 8 community events. The Kids Glow Crazy Party, which was a huge success, Yappy Hour for dogs, a beer weekend with Bull and Bear Brewing from Summit. They're going to be coming back October 5th as well. And we partnered with the Millburn Library and the Millburn Seniors. They did trivia every Tuesday morning under the gazebos. We're also working with Paper Mill Playhouse for 2 events in the fall. Amanda will talk a little bit more about that. But mark your calendars. September 27th is a Friday night. That's next Friday. And we will have a performance from some members of the cast of Jersey Boys. So an exciting special preview. And we also hosted 2 business networking events, both at the beginning and the end of the season. You go to the next slide. So we asked respondents, where do you live? 58% were from Millburn-Short Hills, 35% were from the surrounding communities. This is fairly similar to the Main Street numbers from last year, although one difference from last year was that 19% said they came from non-surrounding towns compared to 7% this year. So fewer people coming from farther away than they did from Main Street. Music and seating were the most popular. You can go to the next slide. Music and seating were the most popular amenities that we offered. They did everything, those seemed to be well received. Concerning the food court, 37% of respondents said it was, quote, good and affordable, while 26% said there's not enough options and 20% said it was not necessary. So this is something that Amanda and I are gonna evaluate over the next few months and figure out just a different tact to the food court. I think a lot of people really enjoyed it, but I think that we can definitely improve it in certain ways. So we'll go to the next slide. While most of the respondents said it was their first time visiting, which is not surprising since this was the first year that it was open, I was encouraged to see that 32% said that they come multiple times a month. And I think that for those of us who are there frequently, there are definitely regulars and there are definitely groups who use this as their place to meet on weekends, which is the whole point of what we wanted to do in creating a community space. Over 2/3 of the respondents, and the next page if you don't mind, said that they get their information about Town Hall Plaza either from social media or word of mouth. And I thought, having 1/3 of people get it from word of mouth is terrific. It means the community's talking about it. Next slide, please. 89, look at that handsome guy. 89% of respondents said that Town Hall Plaza has been a positive addition to the town. 79% said they visit either on weekend afternoons, evenings, or only for live music. So it's definitely less diverse in terms of times of use than Main Street was. But that's gonna be something that goes into our planning for next year. Certainly wanna make sure that we're not trying to create or force use of a space. I think we just need to understand that people are using it on weekends and let's program it for weekends. 65% of respondents said that they spend $0 to $50 in town while visiting Town Hall Plaza. That is down from last year. The average spend on Main Street was $88 in town. 52% of respondents said they visit other parts of town when they visit Town Hall Plaza. That is down versus 70% at Main Street. However, when we asked which do you prefer, Main Street or Town Hall Plaza, of the 75 respondents that said they had been to both, it was actually fairly even. 43 said Main Street and 41% said Town Hall Plaza, with 16% saying that it was they were unsure. We definitely had, on the next slide, please, some really good and I think diverse feedback. One of them was moving back to Main Street, and then others were extended past Labor Day, which was done. So definitely two sides of that same coin. Adding more tables, gazebos, and family-friendly events. But the events that we did do this summer for families were really well attended. So I think that's definitely a sweet spot for us, and we're going to continue to program that. Some other suggestions related to marketing were utilize the work moms list, more signage in the downtown, and utilizing text alerts for event cancellations, especially in the event of inclement weather. On the restaurant side, users want to see more diverse options for vegetarians, people with dietary restrictions, and for kids. So that's my brief report. If you go to the last page, you'll see some nice photos. And I'm happy to take any questions.
Anybody have any questions?
Can I just make a comment?
Yes,
I
please.
just wanna give a huge thanks to the township committee and everyone who worked on making this happen. I mean, really in record time. And just a huge thank you to Steve and Amanda for literally designing this and creating it so quickly and just working so hard. I mean, basically, anytime I was there, one or both of you were there. I mean, I think you guys were there virtually every weekend of the summer, and just I want to give a huge thanks for the hard work and to everybody that was involved in TPW as well.
It took a village.
Yeah.
But it's been a great experience. I think, Ben probably could talk about it better than anybody up here because he's there every weekend, but there's a really great sense of community. It's a gathering place that I think in a very crazy world, it's a beautiful thing for Millburn to have.
And it's funny because there's no expectations to have dinner or anything like that. If you want to bring dinner, great. You want to order from the vendors, great. And the sponsors were just fantastic, absolutely fantastic. And by the way, there was one time where Amanda and Steve were not there.
The one time.
And I had to play electrician.
I can vouch. Ben got the lights on that night, did it?
Murphy's Law, right? If Steve's not there, it'll break. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Steve. I also want to second what Tracy said. I mean, it was a tremendous, Amanda was out there with her tool belt on multiple occasions. The ideas of trying to think about everything, putting fans in the gazebos was a huge plus because, you know, it was, even when the sun went down, it was very, very warm, and it really provided a very, very comfortable space in the evening. And the lighting was also, and the games, I mean, I could go on and on and on. And I thought also the way you constructed the street, where we had sort of the adult music section versus the, you know, the food court kind of in the middle, and then you had the games for kids, and created a safe environment because it was really kind of corralled in. Nobody had to worry about cars. So I think I really kudos to both of you for really anticipating and thinking outside the box to make the space as exceptional as it could be. I even saw our lawyer there one evening, yeah.
My family went twice and
Yeah.
my kids loved it.
Yeah, so great, so
Thank you.
really a wonderful effort, thank you very much. Okay, let's continue with
The fall schedule.
the fall schedule and funding from the township. Town Hall Plaza Report Part 2.
Okay, so the fall schedule, it's still growing, but every Saturday night from this weekend through November 2nd, there's either live music or an event. A couple things to highlight. Jersey Boys, 4 of the members of the musical are gonna be here next Friday performing, and then there's a band schedule that plays that kind of era of music.
What time is that? Do we have a time?
6.
The band is 6:30 to 9:30 as usual, and then we expect the Jersey Boys performance around 7:15.
Oh, in between, the band will take a break and
Yep.
they'll come in, great.
So that's one of the ways we're working with the paper mill. They're really excited about the space. We're having a movie night, and Bull and Bear Brewing is gonna be there. We are also October 5th. Speaking of dates, we're in the middle of updating the website. So New Frontier has been testing a calendar look that you can click on instead of having to download PDFs. So that will be implemented early next week. So it'll be much more user friendly for all of our events and programs. So that's coming, but we do have everything listed on the website right now. Rumble Boxing is gonna be doing a self-defense class. They're just determining what date works for them. And then another program, Paper Mill has a Latinx Heritage Month program that they're gonna be putting on October 15th. So they're just getting their promotional materials together, and then we'll get that out as well. So it's just continuing.
October 5th, would you just repeat what that was, please?
That's the movie night and Bull and Bear Brewing.
And what time is that?
That's 7 to 9.
7 to 9, but if you come out at 6, the brewery will be serving.
And we're working with the restaurants as well to get people to the food court, so I'll be sending out updates on that. They're still getting back to me, including Haagen-Dazs, to see if they can come out as well. Steve, do you wanna talk about the funding aspect?
Sure, just very briefly, thanks to Ben and his colleagues. Obviously, this was an unbudgeted expense, as we know. We did incur, significant expenses to get this done out of the Explore budget. In speaking to Mr. McDonald, I expressed that if this is gonna go on through November, we needed supplemental funding. And so he provided through the Township Committee an additional $7,500. And so that is the budget. We may not actually reach that mark, but that's gonna help us pay for the bands, pay for some additional marketing, et cetera. So very, very grateful to the TC and Alex for being so cooperative on that.
All right, on to Metropolitan and Hearth update. So Metropolitan, they have approximately 375 units, the number, it's just close to that. As of today, we've given them 140 welcome bags. And those include some objects in them that I've showed you before, keychains, pens, things like that, and then all the promotional cards from businesses. So 140 of them have been distributed. We're gonna give them another 50 the first week of October. 44 businesses participated in the Metropolitan effort from all 5 districts. There were 41 promotional cards, 5 promotional items, and also in the bag, we included a printed business directory that we created for them. So that's going very well. Hearth Millburn, we provided them, they just wanted the envelopes with the promotional cards, they didn't need a whole bag and other things. So we gave them 53 envelopes for the 53 units that they have. I did that on August 23rd. 43 participating businesses in that, and 4 of the business districts were represented, Wyoming was not. And Hearth Millburn was willing to share with me that about a third of their units are leased. Some move-ins have occurred, others have not. And
58 units are there.
50, it's 53.
53.
Yeah, so this has been going very well. I know, some businesses have seen some response to it, others have not yet, but everyone's been very enthusiastic about it, and I've had more people jumping on. We've had new businesses open during this process, and then they wanted to participate, so it's really been great. Any questions? Okay. The tour of the town social media campaign. So this has been a lot of fun. Everyone loves watching Steve, so he is the center of attention in the videos. And the businesses themselves have been having fun with it too. So we're doing, we just did the intro on Monday. We've done 3 so far, and we're gonna be doing them Monday through Friday for several weeks, promoting either people's fall products, or if there's something new, or if they're just a new business. So I know we did Shala's, we just did the indoor golf one, I posted that before this meeting. What was it? Yeah, we did Gia, she loved it. Lindsay loved it.
Linda's Forest, we did too.
Yeah, we just did a bunch of filming today, so more of those will come out next week. So they've been getting a really good response. And I think that's it for the tour of the town. Fall and winter events, so I'm gonna go through this briefly. And we ran the drafted events and content through the advisory committee. We had a really good meeting, so I'll just go over these briefly. So Fall into Millburn-Short Hills, which is our Halloween event, is gonna be on Thursday, October 31st. We're having it from 2 to 5 p.m. And we're gonna have face painting, pumpkin painting as we did last year. We're gonna have Frankenstein walking around this time. And then we're gonna have a costume contest. And the thing that came out of the advisory committee was talking about how we can further engage the families with the businesses during the trick-or-treating. So 2 things that they want to see happen that I'll be sending out to the businesses next week is to try and have trick-or-treat items where there's something for the kids and something for the adults, something to either engage them or inform them, so possibly creating little goodie bags. And then the other one was we're gonna have kind of like a punch card where people come and register with us at Town Hall Plaza, and we give them this card and they have to go to X, number of businesses, get signatures, things like that. They bring it back, they turn it in, they're entered to win a prize. So we're hoping with both these efforts that it'll be not just fun, but produce some results for the businesses. And then
2 to 5 p.m. on October 31st.
Yep, 2 to 5 p.m. We are, I'm not sure if everyone's realized it, but this year there is one less shopping week between Thanksgiving and Christmas and Hanukkah. So what we are doing is having a holiday kickoff extravaganza the Saturday before Thanksgiving. And we're hoping to help give a push to get people shopping earlier and get them out. We're gonna have costume characters, the Grinch, Olaf from Frozen. We're gonna have holiday carolers, the Florian Chance Jazz Quartet, is it maybe?
Quartet.
They're gonna be making their way around town. We're gonna have 2 DJs with holiday music. We're gonna have elves at the different larger parking areas greeting people. And then we're gonna be working with the businesses to have their promotions and everything, so we can help promote that. It's been,
The date,
it is November 23rd. It's gonna be from 12 to 3 p.m. So that means people can come and eat before, shop during, shop after, that kind of thing. And we have some sponsorship for it. I'm looking to fill the rest of those. The thing that came out of the advisory committee was they really like the idea of having some type of winter market. It's something that we tried last year, but the businesses that we spoke with did not want to do it. They didn't want to be outside. But I'm gonna be proposing this again to all the businesses, and if they want to set up shop, they can. So that's the holiday kickoff. Again, this is a new event for us, but I think it's gonna be really helpful.
and where would that winter market be?
Most likely,
Probably Town Hall Plaza.
Yeah.
We have to think about it a bit more.
and I'm rolling this stuff out, like not all at once, because what we've been finding is we've been doing so much, having so many events and activities that some of the businesses are getting confused about what's going on. So I just was working with getting the restaurants to Town Hall Plaza. Now the next one's gonna be inviting everyone to participate in Halloween, and then I'll give them another week, and then we'll talk about the holiday kickoff in the winter villages. Just so we can get maximum participation and the least amount of confusion. Winter villages, we're all, I think, pretty familiar with them. We're gonna be doing them on Saturday, December 7th and Saturday, December 14th. The snow dates will be the Sundays after each event. And again, s'mores will be free. They're being provided again by Splurge. We're gonna have 6 fire pits burning this year. And we have our 5 igloos. We already have several igloo sponsors. We'll have music, and we're trying to make this a little bigger because we're not doing it 2 days in a row. We had so many people last year. I mean, it was mobbed. So we're having it from 4 to 9 p.m. So it gives people more time. We're having more fire pits, and we're just keeping it simple. It works. So any questions?
Does anybody have, I have a question, does anybody else have any questions? Go ahead.
For the igloos and such, it's up by across from Short Hills Village Mall right there, next to it's Boxcar. Any thought about moving it down to Township Plaza to ingrain that thought into people's head when there's an event that's down there?
Well, I believe there's
I
been,
didn't prompt him to say that.
there's been a discussion of just having it there both weekends. And I don't know if,
Yeah, I mean,
what's the
reality is that while it's very bucolic at Short Hills Station, in the evening, there's only 3 businesses that are open, right? The Indian restaurant, the pizzeria, and Boxcar. I don't think that's a critical mass for the number of people that are coming to town. And so, I mean, last year it was probably 500 people over the course of 3 hours. It was a mob scene. So I think just in terms of, getting people to as many businesses as possible, to move it to Town Hall Plaza for both weekends is the most sensible thing to do. So we wanted to run that by you guys since it's change. Wanted to get your feedback, and then also wanted to talk about the actual timing of the event as well, because it does get challenging when you hit the winter months about daylight versus nighttime and temperature. And just wanted to really ask you guys what your opinions were. But I think ideally we would like to move it to Town Hall Plaza for both weekends.
What were the times last year? Cause I do remember getting it late because it was dark, it was cold, and
Yeah.
there weren't kids there anymore. It was a totally different
I think
crowd.
we started earlier. I wanna say we started around 3, like, it doesn't matter when I get the fires going, people just start showing up, they're in the igloos. So I think it was a little earlier, so we had that daylight, but it's just nice when it's dark out. So people tended to start dissipating around 9:30, it started to get pretty slim. So that's why we're looking to do 4 to 9. We figure we'll have most of the dark, but we'll also have more time for them. And then we can start shutting things down at 9 p.m. And I think it's family friendly too, you know, allows people to deal with nap schedules and other things and still be able to
I
attend.
think a piece of it might be to actually advertise it as 4 to 8. And then people won't be showing up at 9.
Well,
When
that's
we're
what
trying to-
That's what I was
yeah.
gonna say.
So
Yeah,
I mean, we
it's
don't have a
still-
problem running it till 9, it's that, you know, we want everybody to be kind of petering out by 9.
Right.
So that we can clean up the space and put out the fire pits and all the rest of it.
Right.
So maybe a 4 to 8 advertisement, but with the understanding that, you know, people will trickle out.
I would like to see personal, Tracy, did you wanna say something?
You
Before
can go first
Okay.
and then I'll go after.
I would like to see some kind of, the s'mores are great, don't get me wrong, the music, I'd like to see some kind of craft activity, maybe a snowflake design, and maybe some kind of gift card promotion that we can run for, that Explore could sponsor for people that sign up, register, to expand our outreach to the community. I think that would be great, you know, make sure you register. We have these sort of door prizes or whatever we need to call it. It coincides with holiday shopping. I think that, you know, maybe we could either get some of the merchants to, or, you know, or a match, if it's a $50 gift card, Explore picks up 25 and the business picks up 25 kind of thing, and maybe have, you know, a half a dozen of these on each day. I think that would be great. And maybe some, you know, maybe we take these snowflakes, if kids wanna leave them, you can just knot them and string them, you know, somewhere, either for decoration for the holiday, or put them in the igloos, or they can take them home or whatever, but I think that would be a nice, or have the activity perhaps not in the igloos, excuse me, in the gazebos, if we're gonna still have them out or take them out again, or what's gonna,
TBD, but it
Yeah.
might be useful to just keep them there,
right,
because they do have lighting.
right, so maybe you set up some of these snowflake tables or.
Like,
Oh, I was gonna ask, is there enough space? Like you said, there's gonna be 6 fire pits. How many igloos do we have?
We have 5.
4, 5?
Yeah, but Town Hall Plaza is tremendous.
And then with the crowds we had, but I remember by the train station, I agree, it's nicer. We could go long, and remember it went into the yard and it sort of spread the, I know it's, I'm just asking in terms of
Right.
space.
yeah, no, we'll be fine with the
With
space.
this,
The other thing, we can possibly get a sponsor to do the snowflake activity, otherwise I'll handle it.
Right.
And I forgot to mention, like, we'll definitely have, you know, a Jack's and some other vendors that are gonna be selling hot chocolate, chowder, stuff like that, cause that happened last year and they did very well.
Okay,
So I think these are great additions and totally workable. But I do think the Town Hall Plaza space is much more conducive to what we're trying to do.
And I think you can't discount the built-in infrastructure of having all the electricity
Yeah.
already built out. That makes life a lot easier when you're not looking to run electric cables. So Town Hall Plaza, I think we built it out to be a community space, and we should continue to use it as such.
So I guess a few thoughts and questions. I know how complicated the logistics are. I was there for a bunch of hours, I remember last year at Short Hill Station. It is a really nice space for it, and we are looking to run things throughout our other districts, so I'm just thinking out loud a little bit. I love Town Hall Plaza, I think it's great. We're gonna have a lot of stuff there, but I don't know that we wanna be everything there all the time. I guess one of my questions, I was thinking even before that was being recommended, is if we did do it in Short Hills one of the weekends. First of all, do the businesses there wanna have it there, and how can we engage those businesses more? Can Indian Express and the pizza place and Boxcar, at the event last year, people were definitely looking for food. Is there a way that there could be food there? Do some of the companies, even though there's only a few businesses there, would K and Co wanna have a table and run something? Would Short Hills Pharmacy want to, great opportunity for them? I'm always recommending people to them, looking for a neighborhood pharmacy. They carry toys, they carry cards. So I guess I'm just curious, could we get a little feedback?
Yeah, let us come back to you at the October meeting.
Okay.
We'll chat with those
Is there
businesses.
interest, if there's interest in those businesses, I mean, maybe you don't even set up all 6 igloos, maybe it's 4, but again, I also understand it would be logistically easier
Mhm.
to be in one place, I totally get that, but again, I'm also thinking about our mission and that we're looking to do things throughout the course of the year across all of the districts. And again, we love Town Hall Plaza, but we do wanna do things in other areas as well. One other thing I just wanna say, at all of these events, and I know we've all talked about this, and Amanda, we could talk about this at our next marketing committee meeting, and again, this has all been amazing. We are great at drawing people there. So how do we use these events to raise more awareness about what Explore Millburn-Short Hills is, exploring local, those directories we developed for the Metropolitan and the Hearth, could we give them out? Can we have QR codes up so they can see all the kinds of businesses there are? How do we use these opportunities to get people to spend money in town, which is what we want them to do, and maybe even come back other times, like this is the kind of the hook that draws them in, but how do we how do we get them to? And obviously, we also wonder, which I know we did, how do we capture their information? And we even use QR codes for some of that, and like fill out this brief form, you'll be entered to win, enter to win a $100 gift card to the Millburn-Short Hills Business of Your Choice or something like that. So just really maximizing all of this. And it's amazing how many people these events draw, Girls' Night Out and the igloos and everything else, it's awesome.
Or, I don't wanna add anything to your plate necessarily, but maybe we do one Short Hills, something with Santa on a Thursday night or some kind of event that's not as labor intensive to get people to that part of, I'm just putting it out there, maybe December 5th. Maybe we do something at Short Hills train station where we have where Santa comes off the train or I don't know, something that that would maybe just it's a regular school and it could be, it could be 3 to 5 or 3 to 6, so people go to dinner after or and maybe we do something with a holiday cookie or once again, maybe, in the 100 holiday cookies, there's a golden ticket in one of those cookies that gives to support, Brooklyn Pizza or a gift card to, so maybe just a something of that nature.
Yeah, let us take some time to think
Yeah.
about it and we'll get back to you, we'll have a response for you at the October meeting.
You know what struck me, sorry, it's a little out of order, the information that we're gathering from attendees and things and marketing to them. Part of the feedback was texting, is like, I wish we got texts on, and to me, we're starting to use that at the store and it is really effective because people now are not reading emails. Oh.
So
You're ahead of me.
I'm taking a week in October to work on all of these updates and advances, so texting is one of them to the businesses and other things, so we can kind of modernize the way we're handling things, so
Yeah,
absolutely
I
on
mean,
that.
even do attendees, not to the businesses,
For
Yeah.
marketing.
No, I
marketing
understood,
for-
So when
understood.
people sign up, we should get their
yes, and
cell
do you want us to
number.
and
Yeah.
then they
Yeah.
get rain dates and it's just an immediate.
Yeah, we have cell numbers for everybody that responded to the Town Hall Plaza survey. And we have others, I mean, it's
I mean, I just wonder if there's to help, it's not a
Yeah.
manual you have to send,
No,
but there
no.
must be.
I'm actually gonna present it in the 2025 budget. We would like to have the ability to have, whether it's SurveyMonkey or some other
Text.
platform.
Yeah.
Because there are legal requirements about opt-ins and things like that. But it would also be really good for us in the event of a storm or a road closure. We could get information to our businesses.
To supplement what the town already does, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
because not everybody is necessarily on the SEL
Alert.
portal signed up to get announcements.
Right, but you get alerts too. So.
Yeah, I mean,
But you have to have
really
the phone number in.
But they have opted in when we've collected the information, we just, you know, but yes, we use Survey Monkey or whatever. Just the opt out.
But it's also
not
sortable,
capability.
right? So if we're gonna say, just for argument's sake, it's a hyper-local issue, right? There's a road closure. And we wanna let residents know that their shopping may be impacted, right? We're not gonna send it to necessarily somebody from Middlesex County, right? You can cull these things.
Yeah, definitely,
Right,
but
and
you can
that's-
also get bogged down in the minutia.
But especially about the events, promoting events,
Yeah, no.
and we're
Yeah.
starting to use it more in our organization as well, from a marketing standpoint. So
Yeah,
it's
no,
great that you're
we're
already
all-
on it.
we're all
You're
over
on
it.
it.
Perfect.
Amanda's on it.
Okay,
You have a PDF.
yes, so very briefly, so we've been talking about this since last year, improving the holiday lights throughout the town. And so we have a committee with DPW, Tim's on the committee, I am. And so we put together a bunch of options, and so these are the things I'll just go over briefly that are gonna happen this holiday season. This type of lighting is gonna be installed on the roof line of the Bauer Center. What's nice about this, we leave it there, you can change, it gives you like dozens of options of different lighting, so you could literally do Halloween lighting, you could do. So the nice thing about this is gonna be up, and that's where significant Diwali celebrations are. So we'll be able to customize the lighting for when they're having events there. And we already spoke with the Desi Club, and they're like, they love it, they're so excited about it, cause a lot of the times holiday things happen after those first few days in November, and so we were trying to be as inclusive as possible. So that's happening at the Bauer Center. On the next page, I'll just explain it,
So
go
let me
ahead.
just ask you, so we'll have, orange and black for Halloween or
Yeah.
whatever, and blue and white for Hanukkah and,
We can do any of that,
Yeah, red and green.
and then turn it off when there's nothing going on.
Right.
So it's, we're
They'll
really
burn
excited.
blue when they win a football game.
Right.
Yeah, do whatever you want.
So that's gonna happen, we're decorating trees in the courtyard, just over behind
Behind Starbucks.
yeah, sorry. And so what we're gonna do, several trees, we're gonna have these meteor shower lights on. And then we're wrapping the trunks and significant branches with the white string lights. And then, so there's a couple trees, the courtyard, and then also at Trail Station. Some of them, if you move on to the next page, are gonna have these sphere lights. They're about 7.5, 8 inches. And they come in all different colors. So we're gonna put those in some of the trees as well. And again, do the wrap the trunks and the big branches. At the Rose Garden, we're gonna have a Moravian star in the center of it, and then we're going to do just simple lights around the edge of the roof of the gazebo. And skipping around a little bit, we're gonna be having a few like life-size, most likely snowflakes on Upper Millburn Ave.
Not life size, human size.
Well, human size, sorry.
Life size snowflakes that big.
Okay. Human size, to bring some holiday cheer to that section of town. And again, this is the first phase of this. We're gonna continue to add each year. Lot 1, the trees that surround that corner where the clock tower is, there's, I think, 3 trees on each side. The bottoms of the trees are going to be the white string lights, and then the tops are going to be blue. I think the chamber did that last year or the year before, and people really liked it, so we're gonna repeat that as well. And then we're also gonna have a couple of winter figures next to the clock tower, like a snowman or polar bear, things like that. So all of these things are in motion, and we're just looking forward to everything coming to life. So they're gonna be installed in October, so they'll all be ready to go.
Is the chamber involved at all, or is it just?
Not in this initiative.
But we still, I know this is like, everyone has their little things they notice. Are the snowflakes we always had gonna be?
They're
up
gonna
again?
go up But we are going to, in the future, be looking to replace them. There's different versions of them, it's
Can
just
they check the
problematic.
ones in the Wyoming area? Every year they're up and like, at least like 7 of them are not lit. I don't know if it's in that.
Electric is a real
Yeah.
issue in areas that don't have the complete street lights.
But it's like a little silly to put the, it just looks really silly if they're up and they don't light up, so they just shouldn't put them up there. If there's poles where there's just no electric, it just looks like, just, yeah.
No, I'll bring that up.
Thank you for passing that along.
Yeah, no, not at all. Any other questions?
Anything in Taylor Park or?
So it's gonna be the Bauer Center and
And
the
the
Rose
Rose
Garden.
Garden.
Yeah,
Oh,
the Rose
that's
Garden.
right.
And the Rose
We
Garden,
have
yeah.
plans for other things, it's just budget wise,
Yeah, yeah.
we can't do
Next.
everything right now, yeah.
Resources, yep.
Yep.
Understood.
That looks really nice.
Yeah, it's gonna be good. So that's it for me.
All right,
Sorry, can I ask one other question?
Sure.
I know some years there's been like window decorating. Is there any interest in that, do we think? For businesses or not?
I think the businesses do their own
They
decorating.
just do their own.
I think, at least from my standpoint, controlling the quality of what's going on, if we're having painting by kids and
Yeah.
other things, it just changes the look.
This looks great.
Mr. Grillo,
Yes.
Executive Director report.
I will try to be very quick since we have to get to our budget. So the new business or the new business closed business report. So we've obviously been off since June. We have lost 2 businesses since then, Trinity Rehab and Zoma Salon on Morris Turnpike. But there is a pending application before the Development Review Committee for a pediatric medical space at Zoma, so that's a pretty quick turnaround. We also lost the TD Ameritrade office on Morris Turnpike, and then a small law office of 2 different lawyers, Lisa Breen and Michael Sanders at 46 Essex in the downtown that's next to Socorro. But both of those businesses were replaced with new businesses over the summer. We added 14 businesses since our last meeting. That includes Albert Gerald Taylor's at the former Futter's Shoes. And you're gonna see a reel about them very soon. Color Theory and Astrodome Facial and Body, who replaced the 2 law offices at 46 Essex. The Sunoco on Upper Millburn Avenue has reopened under new management. We've had a couple of other, including the Art of Problem Solving and Gold Medal Gymnastics on Morris Turnpike. If you haven't been there yet, it's an absolutely phenomenal gymnastic space. Check it out. Millburn Total Wellness is new in the Wyoming district. Palm Tree Nails on Farley Place. Signature Realty has a new beautiful business building on the corner of Baltusrol and Upper Millburn. And then EYD Beauty Studio, which is at the former Millburn Florist in downtown. So that is now back up and occupied. And that gets us to 508 total businesses in the city. We're also coordinating grand opening events, and we'll let you guys know for Color Theory, Millburn Total Wellness, and Millburn Indoor Golf. We actually met with Millburn Indoor Golf today and discussed 2 events that we're gonna be doing, so we'll let you know about that. And then we also expect to see Squeeze Juice Bar, which is at the former Elephant Plate, and Sugaring NYC, which is at the former President's Club. I've spoken to both those owners, they expect to be open within the next 30 to 45 days. We have also worked with, and thank you to Tracy for the introduction with Scream Truck. So Scream Truck is an on-demand ice cream truck company. You've probably seen their pink trucks driving around. They are actually based out of Industrious at the Short Hills Mall. They serve Millburn as well as a number of surrounding communities. They have about 20 trucks. And I actually met with the CEO over the summer, Jason, who's a wonderful guy. And we started talking about how local businesses in the CID could be suppliers to his trucks. And so he's actually doing outreach as we speak to bakeries and other food suppliers. So for instance, buying your gluten-free brownie bits from Taste Buddy, or going to Splurge and getting, some sort of cookie dough or whatever it may be. And so because they have suppliers all over the country, but with that and comes supply chain issues and cost. And so I think, by the end of the year, we should have actually some of our local businesses actually supplying ingredients and materials to the Scream Truck, which I think is a terrific partnership.
They do some stuff with Liv.
They do with Liv, yes,
That
Liv
was
is
like
the one they do.
So it's so great that you connected with them and they wanna work locally.
Yeah, and when I was
Work
rattling
here.
off the businesses they could work with, Jason was like, I've never heard of them. So good, that's what we're here for. And so that'll be something that comes over in the final quarter of the year. Off the grid business engagement. So this summer, we had a wonderful economic development intern, Vishal, thanks to Jackie. And he was working on a project that we called Off the Grid Businesses. So in our database, we collect all the businesses' websites as well as social media handles. We really focused on businesses that don't have either one or both. And so we did some outreach. Ben was actually very helpful with Millburn Pet Shop. And so we set up Instagram accounts for Easy Print and the Millburn Pet Shop. We have a meeting scheduled with Salon Society, which is on Upper Millburn Avenue. And we got Millburn Pet Shop enrolled in the NJEDA free website program, and that website is live. I think that website went up in like less than 3 weeks. So, because his major issue was he has no website. He wants people to call and place orders, but nobody knows he's there because when you type in pet store near me, there's no website that comes up. So even if it's not a website that he actively manages, at least it now gets him into the search engine.
Yeah, he called me and I tell you, he was head over heels. I kid you not, I don't like giving out great compliments too often. But he was over the moon on his website. And not only that, I forget who was working with him, also allowed him to say, here's some business programs to get into Amazon, be a local 2 hour or less with a $10 premium. Why not slam that to his pet store? Makes all the sense in the world. So from a business model standpoint, you know, he's really going to benefit off that website, Instagram, and having a handle. So
yeah, it's a really small piece of what we do, but it can make a huge impact for business. So it's something we're going to continue to do, and thanks to Ben for setting up that connection. Also, the storm preparedness kit. Just a reminder to anybody that might be listening. Every September, we release that kit, which gives you advice on how to protect your business as well as the physical space. And you know, we suffer from strong winds, we suffer from frequent flooding, and so that is on our website under the resources tab. We've also released it to businesses via email, social media, but it's a very quick read, gives you a great checklist of how to protect your business. Strongly encourage everybody to do that. On to infrastructure and services. So we completed our street maintenance pilot program, which was from May 13th to August 11th. All 5 districts were served with litter removal, trash bin maintenance, and weed whacking. The work was conducted by Clark Service Professionals. They're based in the SID. They did a great job. That was funded through the Clean Communities Grant, which the town receives. And so we would love to do that in 2025 as well. You'll see that in our budget. And Explore would like to put up some of our own money to expand the program. We think we can get about another 6 weeks or so if we put up a certain amount. So it was a great program, especially in the summer season where you get a lot of rain, then a lot of heat. You get a lot of weed growth all over. And most of it is not within the Public Works Department's jurisdiction, and property owners don't maintain it. So you walk down the street, you clean this out, it just makes everything look better, which is obviously important for the shopper experience. Road construction disruption. So as many businesses know, there was a lot of construction in downtown this summer. And so it led to detours, disruptions, loss of parking, especially Spring Street. We had 3 separate construction projects going on in the Spring Street intersection at once. So my phone kept buzzing. Unfortunately, there's very little we can do when they're actually working on the street. The main issue that we all within the town administration agreed is that there's very poor communication between the vendors, the police department, and the administrative staff. And so we are committed to working more to deal with that, to mitigate it, get communication out certainly far in advance, work with specific developers. For instance, the Hearth, I would get information from their construction manager a week in advance. So we could let people know when a crane might be coming down the street, closing it, even if it was just for an hour or 2. So it's just something that's going to take up, more time and effort, but it has to be done, especially as infrastructure continues to age. So I just wanted to give you an update on that as well. The final item is state legislation and programs. I've been giving you guys updates about different SID legislation. No updates in terms of the programs that I mentioned before. We're still waiting on our Main Street application decision, as is every other applicant. But a reoccurring topic that's come up is the NJEDA, or is liquor license reform in general. And I wanted to make you guys aware as the improvement district that NJEDA, the Economic Development Authority to the state, is developing a new grant program for small businesses to try to purchase pocket licenses. So there are 1,300, almost 1,400 inactive or pocket licenses for alcohol in the state, which means someone owns them, but they don't use them, right? And so the governor's office, through its attempt to improve liquor license reform issues, is going to be trying to force those licenses to be sold. And then they're going to be providing grants of up to $100,000 to people who want to purchase those liquor licenses. So it's a very complicated system. Every municipality has a different number of liquor licenses that they can possess. There's a whole host of reforms that are going on right now. But I just thought from a small town perspective, to know that there is funding available if we do have a liquor license available, that I think that's a terrific improvement that the state has come up with. Any questions, or we can move on to our budget? Madam Chair, love to see.
Yes, we had our governance committee meeting on August 13th. Myself, Mr. Weiner, Mr. Grillo. And we talked a lot about all the wonderful things that the SID has done, continues to do, the expansion of its services, and the variety of things that they are participating in to drive engagement of businesses and being really on the forefront of technology and driving revenue and technology and all of those things. It should be noted that in 2021, we passed the SID with no expense to any of the businesses. In 2022 was the first year that businesses within the 5 districts participated in their contribution. And we have not really touched the budget since that time. And as any homeowner, resident, commercial property knows that inflation and a variety of other things have increased over that time period. So so Steve is gonna now talk about the budget a little bit and give you some context. And then just in terms of why don't I let you talk about the budget, and then I'll go over the timetable in terms of what has to be done. Did I miss anything, Mr. Weiner?
that
Please feel free to jump in.
It was a very productive meeting. so
Yes,
good.
And it
thank
was-
you to the executive committee for spending quite a bit of time working through this. It's trying to be very ambitious with the services we provide next year. So just for those who are not familiar, just a reminder, our September meeting, which is this meeting, is our workshop meeting, right? So this gives me an opportunity to present this to all of you. You can make comments, make edits, we can catch any potential errors. And then in October, as our annual meeting, we will present this to the general public, and they will have an opportunity to comment on it at that time. And then we will, of course, have to take a formal vote. Jackie can go through the dates that it advances to the TC. But let's just start going through this budget. I'll try to be as succinct as possible. So starting on the income side, which is at the top, the most obvious change is that we've proposed a budget increase of $43,000 from the 2024 budget, which includes a $40,000 increase in the assessment. Remember, we have an assessment and then we have other lines of income. The $40,000 is a 20% increase. The majority of this increase will be spent to support stakeholder-facing services, things like plantings, events, marketing, street maintenance. There is an additional $1,000 increase, as you see in line E2, which is the township's allocation for the 50% of my salary that they are obligated to pay via the ordinance. There's a new budget line for Town Hall Plaza. We're requesting $35,000 in Town Hall Plaza township funds to conduct that effort. This year, we were at about $27,500. So if we're going to extend the period potentially, we'd like to have, we've extrapolated out the 35,000 is probably a very fair number. The township, let's see here, I'm sorry. That money, the $35,000, will not be paid to Explore, but instead the township will purchase items via their accounts. So the gazebos is an example. The township purchased them through the township's credit cards and arrangements that they have with various vendors. So the money never touched our accounts. It was done as a partnership in that respect. So we're also estimating about $35,000 in sponsorship revenue for next year, which is 75% or so. Actually, these numbers are old. Amanda brought on more sponsors this week. So we're still shooting for, I have to update this a little bit, but we're looking at about $35,000, which is 75% or so of the 40 that we had at the time of this publishing. And then we also have the $5,000 in reserve from the Upper Millburn Avenue event that we pushed to 2025. Similar to Town Hall Plaza, we're also requesting the town allocate $20,000 again from the Clean Communities Grant to support the street maintenance. This is the same amount that they provided in 2024. We've removed the Big Billy Art Grant Program from Clean Communities for 2025. It's only $1,000 we had allocated, but we did not get to that project and we probably will not. And then we have a placeholder of $6,000 for the Essex County Public Art Grant. 6,000 is probably the number we'll get, but it's going to probably end up being a very exact, strange number of $6,342.38. So that'll be updated once everything is finalized with the county. So this provides a total revenue as of today of $396,158, which is $43,000 higher than it was in 2024. We always hold back $20,000 in contingency and reserve, so we have a total spendable budget, as you'll see at line number 10, of $376,158. That's D10 on the chart. Now moving to the expenses side, we have four main categories: management staff, professional services and operations, services excluding the street closure, and then the street closure itself. So in the management category, there's a $2,000 contractual increase for my contract, and then Amanda will be entering into the second year of her $60,000 annual contract. We also like to have a summer intern work again, as we did this year, and so we budgeted $2,000 for that. We're also proposing $15,000 for a new position, which will be a part-time assistant to help Amanda with various tasks, including event planning and prep, business assistance before and during events, social media scheduling, filming, posting, sponsor management, as you heard about before, and other tasks. This results in a total increase of $16,800 in this line, of which 90% is that one new part-time person. On professional services, it remains virtually the same as it did in 2024. We've added a budget line of $1,000 to cover a board training session. We've increased the email and technology services line because we were pretty under budgeted actually this year. All of the different apps and platforms that we use are subscription based. So that number of the 6,000 just gets us to a more realistic expense. We also increased the website management line slightly because we do want to increase functionality of the website. The interactive calendar that Amanda mentioned, improvements to the directory, all that's going to take time from our web host and our web developer. So there's going to be an increased cost to that. That results in an increase of $2,347, of which 65% of that is actually dedicated to legal and audit services for compliance. Our general services category are the stakeholder or public facing services. So we're proposing $30,000 for events. That's the same as 2024. That's our most expensive service, but it's also the one where we can generate the most sponsor revenue. It's also to keep in mind that we do not charge SID businesses to participate in events. Some SIDs do. So we do not. So we don't have that incoming revenue. We don't double charge people. We're also requesting $6,000 for marketing. We have a new line item of $4,500 for social media influencers. This has been a big ask from our businesses. They want us to invest in influencers. So we've broken that out as a separate line. Streetscaping and plantings, we've asked to add an additional $9,500 for a total of $20,000. That'll allow us to put more plantings throughout the district. I don't think anybody would be opposed to that. It's such a large district and we definitely want to improve the streetscape. We'd also like to refresh and expand the Morris Turnpike hardscape project. It'll get beat up over the winter, so we need to put new stones down, expand it slightly. So that's a $4,000 estimated expense. And then the Essex County grant is that same placeholder at $6,000. And then the street maintenance program you see there, we have 28,000. 8,000 of that will come out of our budget and 20,000 from the town and the Clean Communities Grant Program. So we're proposing to invest $98,500 in services in 2025, which is a $14,000 increase from 2024. And remember, those are the services that are going directly to businesses, property owners, and users. Finally, we're requesting $49,200 in funds to support Town Hall Plaza, $35,000 from the township, and $14,200 of the SIDS money. This includes $10,000 for an assistant to help manage and clean the space, $10,000 for live music, $10,000 for capital improvements like more gazebos and chairs, and $5,000 for plantings. So in summation, the four big budget, or the four budget buckets, well, that's a hard word to say, are management staff, that's $189,316, so that's 50% of the spendable budget of $376,158. Professional services and operations of $34,142, 9% of the spendable budget. Services excluding the street closure are $98,500, that's 26% of the spendable budget, and the street closure is $49,200, which is 13%. We also have a $5,000 cushion in the budget at the moment, in the event of any potential changes that may arise tonight. So obviously there's an assessment increase to get to this number. In 2024, the 161 assessed properties have an average assessment of $1,278. That includes 20% of the properties which pay between $1,500 and $5,000 per year. So remember, the assessment is calculated on assessed commercial value. So the more valuable the property, the higher the payment. $40,000 is a 20% increase, which results in an average increase across all properties, all 161, regardless of value, of $225 per year. Of the 113 properties, or 70% of the total, who pay less than $1,000 a year, their increase will be $98 for the year. So for $98 for those businesses, we can increase by $40,000 across the board. That is my presentation. I'm happy to answer any specific questions.
Okay, we'll take some questions from the board. Tracy, Steve, Ben?
Would you like all those numbers, Ben?
Yeah, I mean, if I was doing the spreadsheet, I would just put percent change down on the right here. So it's easy. I actually request that if you can between now and the next meeting, just so I could study a little bit more.
Yeah.
Oh, hand wasn't moving quick enough to write it. Good, and then I'd also like to see before the next meeting as well, the KPIs. We did that whole work on KPIs to put some, kind of a meritocracy here. So if you could provide those as well prior, so we can review them, I think it'd be very helpful.
And just for Ben, yeah, the KPIs will be ready because the quarter closes out in September. So you'll have the second and third quarter numbers as soon as I run them in early October. So you'll have them in advance.
Very good.
So my question is, what do the other SID budgets look like for surrounding communities? How do we compare with our neighbors?
Sure. So this is actually something that came up last year. So I have the numbers. Let me just double check what I have here. So we're looking at a total spendable of $376,158. Summit, their budget is $501,960. So they're about $230,000 more. Livingston is $365,000. So they're pretty much in the same boat as what we're proposing. They have 802 businesses, so they have 300 businesses more than us. But they have had an increase in their budget every 5 years over the last 20 years. And then Springfield has a total assessment of 292, and they have 580 businesses in 3 districts. So we're definitely smaller than Summit, but remember Summit's revenue comes from their farmers market, which goes to the SID budget as well. So I think about 150,000 or so. So I think we're very comparable at this rate at the 376 with Livingston and Springfield and Summit when you remove the farmers market number.
Yeah, not to digress, but on the farmers market, we should try to get that back on township laws.
I don't want to run it.
Well, I would certainly support that if it wasn't on a Tuesday, because I think it's
Needs
just,
to be on a weekend.
Go ahead.
it has to
Go
be,
ahead.
that, and that's the challenge, because the vendors, they're committed to other farms on those days, so Tuesday, nobody knows if you're gonna have company for dinner
No,
or
it's-
what, and.
Someone would definitely have to manage it though, and I say it has to be on a weekend, go right head to head with Summit.
Mhm.
And we have to have, I'm told by good friends in Summit, on the planning and government that they have 3 to 6 vendors buying for every one category, because they don't have 30 special
Yes,
syrups in a row, so.
Ben, I would certainly, we used to have it on Fridays many years ago, and then when they built the parking deck, there was some issues with some of the merchants that felt that the parking lot was taking away parking spaces from their businesses. And then it got moved to Tuesday, and to me, that was the beginning of the end, because Tuesday, first of all, Friday was a great day because a lot of people at that time worked from home on Fridays or had a flexible schedule, so they could work and then lunchtime go over to the farmer's market. On Tuesday is, as you know, is a committed work day, and most people don't have the time in the afternoon to walk over to the farmer's market.
I think the model that Summit uses is a good one, in that obviously the SID has the professional staff and the mechanisms to promote and organize. But you need a dedicated staffer. And I've said this to Alex and other folks who've asked, could this be domiciled within the SID? If it was paid for, and a staffer was brought on by the township, we could certainly, I think, administer it. And we'd be willing to have that conversation. It's just,
That's, yes.
because I don't think it's ever
As a
been.
group, we should commit to trying to move that forward. As a resident, paying to have that type of benefit in town on a Saturday where I don't have to drive to Summit. And then over in Summit, I see all my neighbors, I walk the little dog, the little kids, everything, the entire Millburn-Short Hills goes over
Yes,
to.
yeah.
So
On Sunday.
I was there the last 2 Sundays in a row.
Yeah.
Julie and I went,
Yeah.
it's a
So-
shame, if it could make it work here,
But the biggest problem from what I did some research on this back in the day, is the vendor commitment of the larger farms, because they are committed to other days on a Friday or Saturday. So you'd have to source alternative farms that may be able to come, or hours that would work to, I think a Thursday would even be a great day, or a
We shouldn't decide right now, I think
No,
moving
no,
forward,
that's
and
fine.
we understand what the opportunity is, and then we'll figure out how to do it.
Yeah, I think the main mistake that had been made in the past, at least that I can speak during my time here, is we had an administrative assistant or an analyst running it for 1 year. She didn't have the skills or the resources or the time, frankly. And then the chamber did it, but the director of the chamber is a 10-hour, 12-hour-a-week job. So I think you have to have someone who can really put the hours in. I think the market is there, the larger general market. You just got to put the manpower behind it, and certainly a conversation we're willing to have.
Speaking of manpower, how many hours do you think you guys put in on Town Hall Plaza this year? I mean, those weekends,
I have that number. So
And whatever number you're gonna give,
it's a big number.
it's probably gonna be big, like it's, poor guy, I took off from my house at 6:30 AM to go play golf, he's out there.
talk about sweat equity.
I come home
literally,
6 hours later, still out there.
Ben does like to honk at me from Essex Street.
He always jumps.
It's been about almost 70 hours of overtime, I guess you could call it, or is in excess of my contract since July 2nd. So
July 2nd to Labor Day, right?
yeah, so it's 68 and a half hours of we'll call it donated time, which is about $3,630 of uncompensated.
and Amanda was out there like crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it was preparing for it, and then I did have less hours this summer because I worked so much in the spring, so I had comp time I had to take. But I mean, just managing all the marketing for it, setting things up, we're out there supplementing for the people that were cleaning. We're wiping down tables, we're putting things back. So it was significant. I mean, I think it wasn't really avoidable. It was the first time we were doing this. We didn't know exactly what to expect, but
And that's why we wanted that small $10,000 allocation for an assistant, because the SID doesn't stop just because Town Hall Plaza is here. If it takes 20% of my week, I can't just remove 20% of my other obligations, right? So it just becomes X hours. So even if it's just somebody to help move things around, clean up, just a second pair of hands would be extremely helpful. I think, quite honestly, more efficient for the organization.
And that's a different person, so it's 10,000 for the Town Hall Plaza assistant, and then social media and other marketing is the new position. Different, yeah.
So
So
the
they're
town-
two different jobs.
Right, but the town hall, the expectation is that the town hall plaza person is gonna be an extended sort of, I don't know, I'm thinking Memorial Day or something, a longer period than July 2nd.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
I mean
You're
theoretically,
saying pro rata out the day.
no, well, I'm saying it's gonna be a longer season.
Yeah,
rather
it already
than-
is a longer season.
Well, it's extended on the
Looking at
back end, but I'm
2025.
saying extending it,
Oh, you're saying.
Potentially on the front end.
For next
Oh,
summer.
okay, I didn't catch that.
yeah.
It didn't start till July 2nd.
It didn't start till July 2nd. I don't see why we couldn't do something, starting at Memorial Day on weekends.
100%, I think.
I mean, I think there's a need, right?
And at some point, we probably look at, just closing that down permanently, put a park there, some nice and keep it, you're getting us so much back for giving up so little.
So just to review, our meeting is October 17th, correct?
Correct.
And that'll be the public hearing and the vote by the bid board to proceed to move this forward to the township committee. On November 12th, it will be the introduction of the budget of this 2025 Explore Millburn-Short Hills budget to the township committee with a final vote on December 17th, a public hearing and vote for the township committee. So those are the dates.
And all of you, feel free, please, review this. If you have any questions or any
Yeah.
things you want to add to it, please let me know. This is a draft document, so it can be changed anytime between now and the annual meeting.
Yeah, so I think if there's any questions, certainly reach out to Steve so we can make sure that we reviewed and finalized any other additional addendums, updates.
Steve, I think we talked about this, I think it's a given, but that for our next meeting, there'll be like a top line narrative kind of highlighting some of the key.
Yeah, and what you'll also get
Changes.
is, in addition to this baseline document, I'll break it down into categories, so you'll see the expense, and then it'll say portion from the assessment, portion from the township, portion from sponsors or outside funds. And then those will all add up to the final number, so that'll also give us the ability to compare what's coming out of the assessment versus what's coming out of other sources. So you'll get both documents to compare.
I just think it's important to look at this income budget, that 35,000 is the township allocation for town hall plaza. So that, that's basically a pass through from the township to explore for those expenses, so.
Can I make just one other comment, just as we were reviewing this in the executive committee, is that I know sometimes in the past, the question comes up, wow, this is a big percentage for the staff and the professionals, and we were just talking about the fact that in current day SIDS, that's the huge value of the SID. I mean, the events are great and the events and services are going up as well, but the work that you, Steve, and you, Amanda, are doing, as we're hearing, I mean, all the businesses in total that we've helped set up websites and help get grants and help give guidance to and showcase and not like that, walking all the new businesses through the whole process to open, and I mean, we
Yeah.
helped bring on over 100 businesses in the last couple of years, so I guess it's just an observation that I know that question comes up sometimes, and the reality is that the staff and the professionals and your
Are directly
expertise,
helping businesses.
yeah, are directly
They're
helping
picking up the
businesses.
phone, answering questions, walking around after a flood.
Yeah.
Helping empty our basement, literally, so.
I do
that
have
is-
numbers on that actually, from Summit, I looked at their budget. They have staffers instead of consultants, they also pay rent, utilities, insurance, so just.
Benefits.
And benefits, so,
So you mean employees versus?
yeah, so their assessment is 270. Our assessment would be 244, but they pay towards just personnel, right, and rent and utilities. They pay 104% of the assessment, and then they pay 56% of the total budget. We pay 77 of the total assessment versus 103, and we pay 50% of the total budget versus 56%. So we're actually lower on both categories compared to some. So
That's helpful.
it does require personnel to run this thing.
Well, not just run it, but direct benefit, walking around filming businesses, that's.
Or with garden, the business, the dental, they said that they didn't know what would be involved in terms of zoning and planning. And your leadership was invaluable to them. They'd be open to get themselves
It's
open.
like an ombudsman in.
Yeah, that's a good word for it.
Right. Okay, does anybody else have anything else they want to add, comments of the KPIs we're gonna look at, Steve?
Yep, I have the KPIs. I'm just gonna double check the number on the town hall plaza assistant, make sure that's slated through Memorial Day. We'll have the 3-column comparison chart, and then we'll have a narrative that goes along with it.
Great.
And if you could put those comparative numbers as well into just one quick sheet for us, that'd be great as well. Comparing to Livingston Summit,
Oh, sure, yeah, I could do that.
even for residents, et cetera.
Or the amount of businesses, right? So we have
Yeah.
508, they,
I'll produce just an overall budget
Yeah.
package and you'll get everything you need.
okay.
Very good.
And reach out to me if you have any suggestions or questions. Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, general public comments. The public is invited to provide comments and ask questions at this meeting. Those utilizing Zoom or phone will also have the opportunity to speak. Clearly state your name, speak into the microphone, and limit comments to 3 minutes. Prepared statements may be sent to tracy@exploremillburn-shorthills.org. Please remember, this is a business meeting and professional decorum must be maintained. If a speaker engages in disorderly conduct that disrupts the meeting or is meant to intimidate attendees, they will be asked to cease their public comments. All questions must be directed to the chair. At the conclusion of public comments, members of the board may respond or ask staff or the attorney to do so. Staff and the attorney will not answer questions without a request from board members. Okay, who would like to speak first?
I'm gonna state my name,
Please.
Richard Seibert. 3 comments. 1, farmers market. The farms have more employees than you can imagine. If they could make money here, they would do it here and there. And they have plenty of vegetables to sell. 2, I didn't see any Hanukkah celebrations. I saw snowflakes and whatever, but Hanukkah's a big holiday.
It's later this year, as you know.
It's on my birthday.
After, it's, I think it's Christmas Eve is.
It's on my
is the
birthday, Christmas. Yeah.
Christmas Day, Christmas Eve, okay.
And 3, food at the Town Hall Plaza. Suggestion, pizza's good. If you ever go to like a basketball game or a hockey game or a football game, I'll tell you what they sell. They sell hot dogs. They sell pizza. They sell nachos. And they sell popcorn.
And soft pretzels.
And so forth. Those are the things. So, so I went to the Town Plaza a bunch of times. I always just ate the pizza. That was my thing. But kids eat nachos and popcorn and hot dogs. I don't know what store in town would do it, but if you have additional people working for you, you could make a hot dog stand and a popcorn stand and a nacho stand. And you'd raise a lot of money.
Well, yeah, the food cost on popcorn is,
Zero. That's all.
it's not a bad idea.
No, it isn't.
It's a good idea. Thank you, Mr.
It's like one of
Seibert.
those, like carnival trucks or something.
Good evening, my name is Jeffrey Feld, poet section. Some questions or observations. When you do the budget, besides having a comparison of the revenue side, can you also do a comparison of the expenses of comparative SIDS? Because you were only focusing on the revenues, expenses. As to the new best practices, registration, insurance, will there be an administrative fee charged to businesses for it? Because other towns do that. Yeah, I haven't heard about that. Give you a little more update on Bear Properties. We found out a new judge has been assigned to the case. Unfortunately, that judge and me have a relationship. I have some cases pending against his former firm where he represented it. I've suggested that he might have to recuse himself, and that just came up like today, we discovered it. As to the Town Plaza extended, but there was always a question that rose about the effective date of the ordinance. We were talking about the pulse of the town, feel of the community. You get the pulse not only at the closure that you have. I would ask you to start focusing on what happened at the planning board the last few meetings, especially last night. That's affecting the pulse of this community. It's up in arms. We've learned on Tuesday about the celebration fund, and what's more clarification tonight, but really the extent of the use of the celebration fund to fund the SID and the closure. As to the Halloween celebration, make sure it's a nonpartisan event, that we don't have the fiasco we had as prior to these two in October 2020, that it turned out to be a political event for a certain campaign. Let's make sure it's no partisan, and you tell both parties, if you want a campaign, it's not in this area, somewhere else, so we don't have that problem that was very divisive in October 2020. I felt that a lot of things you're doing, you're usurping functions that the chamber used to do, especially on Christmas. They did like in Taylor Park, last year they did the lighting. They did special lighting for the clock for David and Stone. It was like his really last event. I think what I've seen tonight, you're taking over that function, and I'm just trying to figure out, has a lot of the functions of the chamber been taken over by the SID? Thank you.
Is there anybody else on Zoom that would like to speak?
We have one on Zoom.
Okay, let's go for the Zoom.
Good evening, Perry Urso, Upper Millburn Avenue. Tonight you've approved the closed executive session minutes from May 16th. In those minutes, you have Attorney Slattery is weighing in on the Bear property litigation. Multiple times, multiple occasions, it's been stated, and this body has stated that it is not in the scope of his retention. However, it also has been stated that this firm is not billing separately for his updates and reports because it's within his retainer. So which is it? There's some confusion there. Can we clarify? Remember, prior municipal attorney has failed to mention this entity as a party, and that this body has not retained, this entity has not obtained a special counsel. Also was stated in that same discussion was raised about how the board was created versus the DMDA. The minutes reflect Attorney Slattery stated significant and operational concerns, and the executive director was asked to discuss these issues and how other SIDs appoint their boards. It's actually appalling that we have a current sitting chair under her mayorship failed to have these answers to these questions prior to the adoption of this ordinance 2561-20 raised by the public in 2020. In July of 2024, Deputy Mayor Saccomonte and Committeewoman Krupis put on a motion on the table to re-examine the SID. That motion was denied by the majority of the TC. Tonight, I respectfully ask that the TC representative, Mr. Stoller, to bring back that motion based on your closed executive session to the table for reconsideration. Also, prior to the approval of the Town Hall Plaza extension, has this body provided or given any type of evaluation of the effect and impact of the other 4 districts outside of the downtown before, during, and after its events? Also, will Lot 14 be brought to the attention to the surrounding property owners? You mentioned that you secured a location on Upper Millburn Avenue for an event. At that property coincidentally lies in Springfield and not subject to an assessment. It is known, though, it's a known fact that that property owner does pay an assessment up on it within a different district. Has that property been considered? And what are the dynamics of the event? Will it be held on the street of Millburn Avenue, or is it inside of that property? The screen truck, is that a sponsor to the SID, or do they pay an assessment? Just like all the other property owners. You're talking about the budget and there's an increase. Is that to, the increase of 40%, is that to offset the 60% of the SID budget going to salaries? And also, I'd just like to correct the chair that it's not the merchants that are being charged. It is the property owners, and the event the property owners, in a conversation we had in 2020, was asked by my husband, if we choose not to pay the SID assessment, what are our repercussions? He was
Ms.
told
Urso,
that
I'm going to
you
ask you to
use the
please
tax-
wrap up.
We were told that you would use the tax department to remedy those fees. And unless these fees are deferred to merchants, the only ones that the impact is on the property owners. Thank you.
Is there anybody else on Zoom?
Nope.
Okay. Would anybody else in the audience like to speak? Ms. Powell?
Hello, Vicky Powell, really fast. The tour of the town, I have to say it was a fabulous idea. And I actually had a lady that just came into my store today and said, I saw this video with the guy with the hat. It was like Steve from Explorer. Yes, and he told me about your store and I had to come in and see it, and she lives in town. And I didn't ask her why she hasn't been in, whatever. But I just want to say it is hitting the people. So I just wanted to say it's a fabulous idea. I'm excited to see all the other districts and what you guys are touring in there. But it also goes back to that, what I was saying, that the people in town don't realize what they have in town. So again, if we can, I don't know, send out email blasts saying, hey, go to Explorers, this is what's in your town. You should know what's going on. I mean, we have the reverse 911 or whatever you guys, in the weekly mayor, you know, hey, do you guys know that the SID has a great website with a lot of information about what is in your town? I think it would be a great idea. Also back to the street cleaning, it really is dirty. It has to go longer. I was walking down towards Goldberg's today. There's glass all on the bridge. That is not it. That's a town property.
Mhm.
There's glass all on the bridge. There's garbage and it's just dirty. And there's tons of weeds all over the downtown. I mean, it needs to be extended. It's not inviting at all. And the glass needs to be addressed. That's it. Thank you for all that you do. And they are being underpaid because they work very hard. And I agree, we do need a social media because they cannot do what they do and everything else and, you know, Town Hall Plaza and everything else. And that social media needs to be, it's an asset. I mean, the tour of the town is showing you right there. I mean, I had a lady come into my store. She lives in town. She's never been in the store. So we gotta keep plugging away and she needs help. Thank you.
Anybody else want to make a comment? Okay, I'm going to close public, Mr. Grillo or Mr. Slattery, do you want to comment on any of the aforementioned items?
I just like to clarify the Metropolitan event that Ms. Urso asked. It's not being held at the Metropolitan. It's gonna be held on Upper Millburn Avenue with the intention of the residents of the Metropolitan coming to the businesses on Upper Millburn Avenue.
That's next year.
I'll just mention, I don't wanna discuss the, obviously the contents of, the executive session, but just to clarify, my firm's retention is to advise the board for its meetings. If there's litigation that involves the board, obviously you may wish to hire outside counsel for that purpose. You have not done so, and I think that's totally fine. As part of our retention, we're gonna monitor a case that may involve you or may affect the board, just so that you're aware of what's going on with it and nothing's a surprise to you. We're not spending money, we're not litigating, we're not directly involved, we're just kind of watching what happens and reporting back to you.
Thank you. Okay, I will now close public comment. And the next item on the agenda is move into executive session, which resolution 2024-03.
Well, do we get to respond to the public comment? As a,
Yes, you may respond to public comment.
yeah, so, yeah, it's like going through kind of remarks, residents want to be heard. Richie, I agree with you 100%, and, let's give a big thank you to Richie too. He came out and helped us set up the township plaza and work and move stuff. So big kudos to him. I'm gonna defer right now on the whole litigation piece. I really don't want to go into that piece, but I wanted to mention our October 30th for Halloween event last year. It kind of turned into a little bit of a political event, possibly, but the job of us and everyone is to say, no, you move it off property a little bit, and you can't do it on property. And I think we all agree, at least on this dais right now, that that's how it should be handled, and we should keep an eye open for that as well. On the mayoral message and every event, we're really pressing these two issues: shopping local and drive safely. There's been a number of incidents in town. There was an incident right there in front of Sean Marco that was terrible. So everyone needs to slow down. Everyone's back to work, and this is maybe something we can do with the SID in terms of an email to businesses to maybe ask them to mention it to people. I mean, maybe there's something we could do with Lestrada to tell the kids and just communicate, drive safely. We didn't want to be apoplectic when someone got in a serious crime. We don't want to be apoplectic that we didn't slow down traffic if a kid gets hit. So now's the time to plan, not after the horrific event. So that's it for me.
Thank you, Mr. Stoller. Okay, so I make a motion to move into executive session, resolution 2024-03 for contract discussion, re-management staff and litigation, as well as the Bear Properties versus Township of Millburn attachment 10.
And just for the audience, no official action will be taken after, so everyone can leave if they would like.
Have a good evening.
He's just asking if we need to.
Do we just need to make a motion?
So go in the.
Yeah.
She already did.
Oh, okay, I missed. Second.
Okay.
Okay, can we just do a voice vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Hey, Ashley, I will call you from my cell, and then you can join in.
everyone.
One more voting.
Yeah, I need one more voting person.
We need Tracy.
Yeah. Let's grab them. Good evening, everyone. I am reopening the meeting. I'm reopening the meeting to back to general, ending closed session, returning to open session. May I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
May I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
This meeting is adjourned. Thank you.